we have an opportunity to really analyze. We really have to get into the details of like, okay, now we're dreaming big, so how do we hone this down and make it actually something that we can take actionable steps towards? Like, what are the details? What are the things that need to change? What are the things that need to be implemented? Welcome back to Elevation 44, where we learn how to master our energy. And we do that through three main areas: spiritual alchemy, astrology, and holistic living. I'm Bee. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, so happy to have you back. Today I'm standing because I did not have enough time to set up the shot. I have to run to catch a flight, so I wanted to get this information out to you guys really quickly before I left. And what are we talking about today? We're talking all about the Virgo full moon, okay? So we have a Virgo full moon coming up on March 9th, and this is a much needed break from some of this Pisces energy that we've been steeped in. We've got the sun in Pisces currently, and then we also have Mercury retrograding in Pisces. So we have been like deep in Pisces energy, and not to mention Neptune has been hanging out in Pisces for the last couple of years. So we've got a lot of planets in Pisces, and we've been soaking up a lot of that Pisces energy, which can have us, the benefits of the Pisces energy is that it allows us to see big, expansive, more of that dream big energy. Like, what are our highest aspirations and goals, and just you kind of get into that fantasy land. And it's great to do that, because if you start dreaming, then what are you living for, right? And so Pisces energy is very beneficial in that way, helping us get into that subconscious mind, helping us, go into those depths of who we are and the things that we don't necessarily take the time to address or even think about on a daily basis, because we're so caught up in just the day-to-day. We never really sit back, most of us, and take the time to like see the big picture and like where we're going and what do we want and all of that. So the Pisces energy has been great for that. Now with the Virgo full moon, the thing about the Pisces energy, we can get lost in that. We can get lost in the fantasy land. We can feel scattered. We can just be all over the place, okay? Because sometimes we gotta rein that back in, and that's what this Virgo full moon is going to do for us, okay? So like I said, Pisces is that dream big energy, and the reason why it's that dream big energy and it comes at the end of the cycle, because Pisces is the 12th zodiac sign, right? So it ends off all of the zodiacs, and then Aries then begins the new season, right? The new cycle. And so Pisces allows us to really think about what we want before going into the next cycle. It allows us to take stock, right? It allows us to kind of finish up and close up the old chapters before opening a new one. Now with the Virgo energy, what we need most of all with kind of like this dream big is that an opportunity to like hone in on the details. And that's what Virgo is going to bring us, this Virgo full moon. We have an opportunity to really analyze. We really have to get into the details of like, okay, now we're dreaming big, so how do we hone this down and make it actually something that we can take actionable steps towards? Like, what are the details? What are the things that need to change? What are the things that need to be implemented? So Virgo energy is going to give us all of that opportunity to do those things before starting off the real new year, which begins with the Aries season. Now, some people want to count this as when the sun officially moves into Aries, and that's, I believe, on March 21st. And then some people also count the official new year being when the new moon goes into Aries. So that's on March 24th. So I am the person who likes to lean towards the lunar calendar, and I'll make a separate video all about lunar calendars and solar calendars, but I really believe that the lunar calendar is more of a true representation of the cycles that we should be following. And so I count the new year as starting March 24th, but you may hear some people saying March 21st when the sun enters Aries, okay? Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about the Virgo facts, okay? So Virgo is an earth sign. It is also a mutable sign, which means that it's the most adaptable and flexible of the earth signs. You have Capricorn, which is the cardinal earth sign, which is the starter, and then you have Taurus, which is the fixed earth sign, that is the finisher. So Virgo's right in the middle of both of them in terms of that's a blending of both of those energies and is just able to kind of carry things through from the starter to the finisher, okay? Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, which is the planet of communication. So Virgos tend to be very good communicators. I'm not saying all of them. Each individual natal chart definitely has a lot of influence to do with that. But in general, Virgo energy is a very good communication energy. Virgo also rules the sixth house, and the sixth house is all things, health, organization, systems, public service, okay? So this really makes sense when you think about what Virgo energy is, okay? And we'll get a little bit into that in a second. Now, we talk about some of the gifts of Virgo, okay? So Virgo has great gift for organization and systems. Again, that's one of the things that we just talked about in the sixth house. Very practical, very good for purification, analytical, disciplined, efficient, and health conscious, okay? And these are a lot of the gifts that Virgo's bringing in. Some of the challenges that Virgo brings in is that they and this energy tends to make us a little bit more of warriors. We become worrywarts. We can overthink things. We can get picky, get stuck in details and want to make things perfect. We can get critical, and we can bring a sense of anxiety to ourselves because we are so worried about making things so perfect and getting so far down the rabbit hole that it can bring on a sense of anxiety. So those are the challenges that you want to watch out when you're working with this energy. Okay, now let's talk a little bit more about some of the Virgo conjunct the moon energy, okay? When Virgo meets the moon, it rules all of our emotions. Virgo is communication. So when you join these two things together, you have an opportunity to really get expressive and communicate your emotions. And this is a great thing to do, especially before going into a new cycle. When we're talking about closing chapters, when we're talking about closing out old cycles, because we don't want to repeat that, we want to go into new cycles, right? So these are the tools that we need often to close out a lot of these chapters, allowing us to really write and speak what our deepest emotions are and get those to the surface, because what this is doing is it's combining our emotions and our thoughts. They finally sync up so that it becomes smoother than it usually is for us to communicate these things. So it's a great time for emotional healing of all sorts, especially when it comes to those closest to you, having those hard conversations with family, with friends, with people that you've been holding things in and not saying something about, and it's been really, having an effect on not only your relationship, but on you personally. Like, your emotional healing needs to happen. So this is a great time to utilize that energy for just that. Now, one of the things I will say is that because the moon and Virgo are conjuncting and this energy is all melding together, one of the things it will do is cause a heightened or increased emotional sensitivity. Now, this is good for helping us get out our feelings and communicate things and write things out and really work through that emotional stuff, so some of that heavy emotional stuff. But the one thing that it can do that I want to caution you is that sometimes that emotional sensitivity can cause us to become emotionally attached to things, and that attachment will then cloud or shadow the issue at hand. So that's one thing that you want to work, watch for, is that you're not allowing your attachments, your emotional attachments to cloud or shadow issues that are at hand that need to be directly communicated and healed, okay? Okay, so another thing is that the moon at the time of the full moon will be opposite Neptune, okay? So Neptune, this is a placement of that opposite where it can cause a lot of confusion, and we're already dealing with a lot more confusion since Sun is in Pisces and Mercury is retrograding in Pisces during this time as well. So, things can get really clouded, and you want to make sure that you're able to pull that Virgo energy, really lean on that Virgo energy to discern in certain situations. Okay, so let's talk about some of the crystals that you can use or work with during this energy. There are two that I would recommend working with, and the first is moss agate. And agate, you can use a lot of different agate stones with this Virgo energy, but I would recommend moss agate because it's got green, it's got that heart healing energy, and this is great for emotional healing, okay? It's great for concentration as well, especially as we talk about diving down into the details, planning our next steps, and really putting our dreams down and seeing exactly how we're going to get from point A to point B. You want something that's going to help you concentrate during this time. And again, it's great for emotional healing as you're working through a lot of those emotional issues, as you put pen to paper, as you speak things. Use this stone to help you through those moments to get that stuff out. The second stone or crystal that I would recommend you working with during this time is lapis lazuli. And I love lapis lazuli because lapis lazuli is one of those stones. It opens up that throat chakra. I've talked about it in previous videos, but it opens up your throat chakra and it helps you communicate. So when you're ready to have those hard conversations, when you're ready to really get that, out, this is gonna help you communicate yourself very, very well, your thoughts and your emotions very well. So I would use these in conjunction together, They are amazing stones to work with this energy. Now let's talk about some of the herbs that you can use with the Virgo energy. Let's talk about lavender, okay? So lavender, when I talked about one of the gifts of Virgo is purification, right? It's just kind of, remember, Virgo rules health and is very health conscious and really wants to clean out things. So purification is one of the strongest energies that Virgo brings in, and lavender is tied to purification. It's also tied to a very peaceful energy. It just kind of calms you and gives you some peace, especially as we can easily tip over into the over-analyzing and worrying and those types of traits of Virgo energy. So lavender is a great herb to use during this time. Another herb is fennel. Fennel also is great for healing, but it's a great grounding herb, okay? So again, Virgo's earth energy, and earth is very, a grounded energy. So using fennel during this time to help you ground is a good thing. Thyme. I can never say it right. Thyme, okay? Thyme is great for your health, okay? So we just talked about Virgo energy and your health. Anise or star anise, okay, is a good herb to use. You have lemon balm, agrimony, peppermint, skullcap, and peppermint, skullcap, anything in the mentha family is really good for your, that mental processing. So it kind of clears that up. Some of those herbs that also work with Gemini energy, because both Gemini and Virgo are ruled by Mercury. So it's that, that intellectual stimulation, mental stimulation herbs, okay? Now, some rituals that we can do during this time. And honestly, I want to tell you guys, there's no right or wrong way to do a ritual, really. I know people say, oh, you got to do it in these steps, and do what feels intuitively right to you and what you're led to do, okay? Don't get so caught up in following, oh, I got to do it exactly the way that they laid out these steps. I just don't believe in all of that, right? I just believe when it comes to personal healing and it comes to personal growth, everybody's journey is different and everyone needs different things and everyone needs to do different things. So yes, you can follow guidelines and you can look up things online to follow a guideline, but at the end of the day, do what's intuitively right for you, okay? And I just wanted to say that before I put out these rituals, okay? Now, some of the rituals you can do, one is you can take a spiritual bath, okay? And if you follow me on Instagram, if you're not following me on Instagram, look in the description box below and find those details. But I always show, usually during the full moon, myself taking a spiritual bath. And what that does, it just kind of cleanses off of you any unwanted energies, okay? Especially anything that you're worried about. So go ahead, take a spiritual bath, wash away those worries, you know, really identify what's on your mind, what's plaguing you, what's worrying you. Get in that bath and let all of that, you know, wash away and wash down the drain. Some of the things you can use in your spiritual bath are some of the herbs that I just talked about. You can always throw herbs into your spiritual bath. They're great, they're great, they're great, okay? And I have lots of different herbal products on my website at the apothecary. Also down in the description box if you are interested, that can help you during this time as well. So you can throw some herbs in there, you can throw Florida water in there, you can throw sea salt in there, you know, mix and match, dibble and dabble, do what's right for you, okay? Another thing that you can do is you can spend some time out in nature, okay? Like I said, that healing vibes of the plant life, of nature, grounding yourself, really going out in nature and doing a lot of physical healing by breathing in the air and just getting grounded and getting centered. Another ritual you can do is you can take inventory of what's around you, what's in your life, and what you need to get rid of. So this is more of a decluttering ritual. Like, what in your physical world are you seeing around you that you don't necessarily need? Things that you're hanging on to, old things that you need to release before moving into that new year, into that new cycle. Take some time to take inventory of what you have and get rid of what you don't need. Like, a lot of us are holding on to things just for the sake of holding on to them, and we really need to release them. So getting rid of those things, this is a great energy to really utilize to do that. Also, organization. I will plug that into that whole decluttering. So declutter, and what do I need to organize, or how do I need to organize to be successful going forward? And then the last thing I would say for a ritual is just using this energy to take time to plan out the details. Like, you know, what is my goals? What are my routines? What are some of the new habits, healthy habits, new things that I want to put in place, and putting pen to paper and really thinking through and writing that down. Again, utilizing this energy. We don't get this energy often enough to really be able to get into the nitty-gritty details. So really thinking about what you need to do, to change your life and to set yourself up for success as you open that new door, as you open that new chapter, okay? So these are some of the rituals I would recommend. Again, you can go online, you can specifically look up step by step how to do certain rituals, but again, do what feels right to you, do what is intuitive, okay? Okay, that was a mouthful, and I really raced to get this out because I gotta go catch a flight. I hope you guys really enjoyed this information and that you can utilize it to help you work through this full moon energy. I'm so excited to see so many of you closing out these old cycles, these old chapters, and opening up this new chapter, these new cycles, because that means we're growing and we're moving forward and we're progressing. And you know, sometimes we have to step back to step forward, and that's what the retrograde is teaching us, and closing these chapters in this Pisces energy, but using this Virgo full moon to look ahead. So that is just, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful when you think about how all the energies are working together and working for us, okay? I'm out of here, got a flight to catch. I will see you guys in the very next video. If you like this video, thumbs up, comment, share, subscribe, you know the deal. Peace.